Take a step back in time and delve into the tragic events that unfolded during the final days of the era dominated by great conquerors. Embark on a captivating journey through history and uncover the heart-wrenching tragedies that accompanied the decline of the age of mighty conquerors. Transport yourself to a bygone era and witness the sorrowful tales that marked the conclusion of the illustrious age of the great conquerors. Prepare to be captivated as you explore the somber narratives that unfolded during the twilight of the era ruled by formidable conquerors. Don't forget to subscribe to our Saga Sphere channel and click on the notification bell. Like and share our videos so that you don't miss out on any future ones. Let's get started. Khan Genghis. This takes us to the Middle Ages, where the Crusaders gained the most notoriety before Genghis Khan, the beast of the East, overtook them. Unlike Alexander or Caesar, he did not consider himself to be a god or a messiah, even though he was able to conquer twice as much territory as Alexander and was anxious to unite all people under his rule. He freely boasted and knew he was a tyrant. The greatest happiness is to scatter your enemy, to drive him before you, to see his cities reduced to ashes, to see those who love him wrapped in tears, and to gather into your bosom his wives and daughters. Multiple narratives exist regarding his demise. Rashid-ul-Din claims to have died of the bubonic plague, whereas well-known Italian adventurer Marco Polo claims to have been shot while riding a horse and to have passed away from his wounds a few days later. According to another account, he was forced to keep a princess from the Western Shiite Empire as a concubine, and she killed him by castration. His death was intended to remain a secret, which is why it is not as well known as the deaths of previous conquerors. Khan begged his loved ones and supporters to conceal his passing before he passed away, because the Mongols were on the verge of capturing the Western Shiite Empire they had been pursuing for 20 years. For the dying Genghis Khan, this conquest was more significant than his own funeral. To keep it a secret, even his followers slaughtered everyone who managed to get in the middle of his burial procession. Imagine Alexander the Great weeping because he felt that his conquest of 2 million square kilometers was insufficient. Alexander the Great, the hunter of glory, had only one goal in mind: world conquest. As though he were unstoppable, he launched his army into battle without any fear of losing. Furthermore, why wouldn't he assume that man had spent 10 years seeking victory? His guys were worn out and ready to return home to their well-earned comfort. However, their ruler was just interested in conquest and had little regard for wealth or even for ruling. Everything was going according to plan until he saw an Indian wall. He would have suffered injuries while fighting Porus, his worst opponent, and his horse would have perished in the conflict. He persisted on pressing his forces, while another massive Indian army stood poised and rejuvenated on the other side of the river, leaving his men weary and vulnerable. For once, listened to no one and was compelled to obey, even though they pleaded with Alexander to end the day, declare it a campaign, or declare it an empire-wide endeavor, but go home. For him, it was the start of the end. Known for his excessive drinking, he overindulged one evening and became seriously ill. His cunning generals soon assembled to meet their king and asked him who would inherit his enormous dominion upon his passing. To the strongest was Alexander's response, and it set off a nearly 50-year-long struggle among his generals. Alexander was crippled and pronounced dead by doctors. The Macedonian kingdom was shattered before it was ever created. Nevertheless, Alexander never had anything to do with Macedonia. According to Greek historians, Alexander's body did not begin to decay until 6 days after his passing, indicating that the warrior king was in fact a deity. They were unaware, though, that he wasn't actually dead in the first place. According to modern science, Alexander was in a coma due to a neurological condition. Alexander most likely knew about his men's schemes before he was buried alive. Caesar Julius. Gaius Julius Caesar, Alexander's devotee, comes next. Alexander cried because he was out of worlds to conquer, but Caesar would have cried when he read of Alexander's adventures. He said to his warriors that he had defeated Darius when he was my age, but I haven't done anything yet. I have not accomplished anything because he looked up to Alexander, and after gaining considerable influence as a statesman and general, he adopted Alexander's egotistical and narcissistic traits. Subverting the Roman Republic, he proclaimed himself emperor for all time. He apparently said, "If you must break the law, do it to gain power." So he wasn't bashful about it either. In every other instance, note that the Roman senators were afraid Caesar intended to institute a monarchy that would totally undermine their power. At the Senate sitting on March 15th, 44 BC, Caesar was slain by a group of 60 senators. To express their affection for him, the group decided to stab him 23 times in all. When Caesar last looked, he saw Marcus Brutus, his own adopted son and dependable ally, standing among the attackers. Genghis Khan, Julius Caesar, and Alexander the Great are prime examples of human conquest's vulnerability and magnificence. Their turbulent lives, filled with both sorrow and triumphant achievements, show just how complicated our pursuit of fame and power can be. These high-profile individuals met tragic ends despite their many accomplishments, showing us that success in life can quickly come and go. Exploring their stories forces us to confront both success and failure simultaneously. Experience exotic realms full of unforgettable adventures and discover captivating narratives inspired by legends by joining us on SAGA Sphere. Purchase your subscription now to gain entry to an epic world full of secrets and legends.